contention is that the system is good as it is and shouldn't be changed and can't be improved?
I would say that it's more having a look at the concept of people being able to access their superannuation to buy a home, that it doesn't deliver the best outcomes for their own wealth generation as individuals, but it would also really overheat an already hot property market as well. And that's what we've seen in the modelling that was done for McKell across the capital cities.
Okay, so you don't see any possibility under any circumstance where super could be deployed to assist with us solving this great problem that we have besetting our young people?
Not in terms of individuals deploying their own superannuation, no. In terms of superannuation as a multiple trillion-dollar industry deploying their funds to invest in broader scale housing projects that would have the potential to increase housing supply. When we're talking about the supply side of things, absolutely. I'm talking about stoking the demand side by allowing people to use their own individual super to buy property.
Yeah, and do you support build to rent?
Oh, absolutely, particularly in terms of the capacity for build to rent to alter the fact that right now we have more than 90% of Australia's rental properties are owned by private investors, which means that we've got one type of asset owner that own all of the rental properties across the board, which means that when government policies change mum and dad investors, small scale investors, when interest rates go up, you've got this whole pool of investors that all have the same types of influences changing their decision making and influencing the market. So from my perspective, the build to rent offers an opportunity for there to be other property owners that own the properties that people can rent into and just expand that market and increase supply.
Okay, so you don't like the idea of the mums and dads owning the rental stock, and you don't think that people should be able to use their own super or housing. Your position is that the big funds should be able to build to rent properties and then rent them out to people. Is that right?
I think that the entire rental market would really benefit from being shook up so that we don't have one particular type of investor owning all of the rental properties across the board, and that a good way to do that would be allow for institutional investment. And also too, because the super funds have been saying publicly for quite some time that they've got a real appetite to be doing that. And also too, just the commercial build quality of those types of properties, I think would be a really positive influence on the rental market as well.
Okay, so you're entirely comfortable with big super funds owning a large amount of the housing stock and that being built to rent housing stock?
Well, I think that right now they're not owning much of their housing stock at all compared to the 90% that is owned by mum and dad investors.
Is that right?
So I'm talking about there being a broader pool of asset owners that are owning rental properties, just to really cushion renters against some of those market impacts that we see when something happens like successive interest rate rises.
Okay, and do you think that negative gearing should be changed for mums and dads?
Yes, so the McKell Institute has done a lot of work around this because I think that if we were to come out tomorrow, for example, and say, we think that all negative gearing should be strapped straight away. The fact, like I said, that 90% of the same type of asset owner is in the market there, it would have a really big impact on the entire market. Whereas if there were adjustments made to it to stoke the supply side, for example, to perhaps even change it to only being for new builds, then that would actually bring negative gearing back to the original reasons why it was introduced, and that was to stimulate ownership of rental properties in areas where the capital gains weren't enticing people to buy. So in the past, that's been regional areas or areas where property prices aren't inclined to grow. So it's more about increasing the sophistication of the Australian property market to improve supply and make things fairer, not only for home buyers, but for renters as well.
Okay, so just so I get this right. So you want there to be changes to negative gearing, which would, I imagine, pare it back. And then you also think that the individuals shouldn't be able to use their own super for a house, but the institutions should be able to do it on their behalf and therefore build a whole lot of build-to-rent properties. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, appreciate your evidence very much.